Hey, you guys, time for YouTube. We're going to start off with that for a minute. Another product failure. The oil ring, the rubber ring in the bottom of the filter. I bought 7 of these, and they're down the other shop. I don't have room for everything here, and there's no sense in showing you a shit pile of oil filters. The oil rings, that black oil, the rubber ring, they're falling off. The PH8A, I guess it's the PH2 and the PH5, and I think it's the PH25s. I've had a couple reports of it because I have some close family mechanics that don't live in the area, but other people. These people don't talk much around here. I told you, I doubt whether Hazleton, Pennsylvania, whether there's one person with a fucking high school diploma, and that's all of them. We're going to cover something. This is your part number, and if you can't see it, because this camera's terrible in certain lightings, I tried to show those boxes, the part numbers on those USA made Chinese parts that I got, the bearings. It's a 5-760X. The old part number was a 377, and there's another part number that supersedes this, and they are the Chinese made universal joints. Beware, because that U joint, just the one I did on that driver's side of Holly Ann, it was crispy. I mean, and those Ford, those U joints, I think they were the original U joints because they had the knockout in the center, the dimple, but there was no grease fitting. And I remember the one that I did, believe it or not, 30 years ago, because I said to myself, there was no grease fitting. I was in my infancy then of learning about some of the newer vehicles that were coming out, and some of the engineering and things, just like today, it doesn't make sense or there's a design flaw. So while I'm cleaning up my shop, those people that loathe doing U joints, and you say, oh, those needle bearings, they fall out. Keep your universal joints in your freezer in the summer. In the fridge, in the fall, in the winter, or whatever, and work in the shade. Grease stiffens up, and that gets me to my other topic. Okay, these all say wheel and bearing grease, but they have different purposes. The red grease is a high temperature grease. It's used more for heavy equipment, the actuators in the hubs and everything like that. There's a lot of uses, marine use in your trailer. If you have a trailer that goes in salt water, fresh water, and the wheels go in, that's red grease, okay? This green grease is wheel bearing grease, okay? And this holds up to certain temperatures. I mean, if you're going to do a lot of off-roading or you're going to do a lot of, say you do a lot of high speed, use the red grease, but beware when that car sits, that grease gets harder. It gets hard as shit, and that's where you start going through bearings. It was a big problem back in the 70s and 80s because everybody was going to the waterproof grease is known as the red grease. That's your waterproof. All grease is waterproof. It's just that they were mislabeling things to sell more products, and don't ask me, that's corporate America, okay? Now this is fine for wheel bearings. But if you have a four-wheel drive, like I have Holly Ann with those lockout hubs, this is your brown grease. And this is what you dress the hub with. Because this is not as temperature sensitive, and that outside part of the hub does not get that much heat from the wheel. Believe it or not, the wheel itself can get smoking hot. Now I gotta wipe my pitties again. I'm handling that with no pity covers. Because a lot of people do not understand the different jobs that grease does. Like that lightweight, the brown grease, I buy that in those small tubes. I have it in my small gun for like snow blowers and stuff like that in the winter with the augers and different parts that have to be lubricated. Like a lawn tractor, too. I will not use the brown grease so much in the wheel hubs of a lawn tractor, but I will use it, say, if you have the tie rod ends and stuff that are greasable on some of the larger mowers. I'll use that brown grease. It's fine. It's a universal. It's just a lighter grade grease. It's not that it's bad, but it does not hold up to heat that well. Not like the green grease. But the red grease is basically, it's a heavy use grease, and when you're in the cold, the real cold, We don't use a whole lot of it up here in this area. The green grease is fine because a lot of people find out they use that red grease. Oh, it's heavy duty. It stands up to the heat. Yeah, but it don't stand up to the cold. It turns hard as a brick. So a lot of people don't know those things about keeping your universal joints and stuff in the freezer. And then my political commentary, okay? China and Russia want a civil war. They want this country destabilized. They don't want people signing up for our military. And that Muppet in the White House, he's behind it, okay? A lot of people were wondering, what the hell is the objective? What is this all about? It is everything to do with causing a civil war. You saw that governor, I knew it for a couple days. I knew she was going to try to show up there at that police officer's funeral, okay? I think maybe if that family member wouldn't have pushed her back right there, I think there would have been something. And I don't know if Trump was inside that building when she was there. But then that Letitia James and Alvin Bragg, I mean, those are abolitionist people. They're troublemakers. You know, Chip Roy said it best, and there was another guy. We either have fucking laws or we don't have laws in this country. I hate to use the F word. What Biden's doing is against the Constitution. It's not up for a debate. It's our written set of laws that he is violating, okay? This is what's happening to this country. And us, okay? And us, all right? We have laws, you and I, the cop comes, he knows what the fucking law is, right? We go to jail, right? Comes to Joe Biden, it comes to a politician, the fucking law is debatable, okay? Now, you think the arrest of these rappers and all this stuff going on with these black people, okay? We have abolitionists at work out to separate this country. And into Taiwan, China goes, and into Third World War, USA goes. With nobody to fight the war because nobody believes in our government. And nobody believes in our, at least not me, somebody that served. I don't believe in this government. We either have laws like Chip Roy said and the other guy, or we have no laws. It's not one or the other, okay? And Biden, just like where Biden got all his ideas and all his moxie and balls, is Bush should have already been in jail for treason and everything he did by circumventing Congress and starting that Gulf War. But it's a holiday, and I want to enjoy the rest of my holiday. I've got a shelf here that's ready to come down. When I first started building some of the stuff here, it was kind of meatball. It was made out of need, and I always figured I'd get back to fixing things, and sometimes I never realized how much work it was really going to be. So, your old lady goes in the fridge and says, "What's that?" Say, "Hey, that's my snack for later. I'm going to get my iron." I don't know about that, especially you with the even on the Navy warships. That's where I learned that we had freezers and stuff. We used to take certain parts for engines and things that had needle bearings, and we used to freeze the shit, put it in the freeze, because it would last till you get it together. Because in the Mediterranean and 100-degree heat, those needle bearings will slide right out of the bearing caps, and a lot of people do not know that trick. So I hope I've contributed something, because I think everybody will like my little secret. It'll work, because it'll help you get it together. And if you have to, once the caps are off, if you're worried that it might stick, and it might be a little sticky, a little gluey, put a little oil on the U-joint, not in the caps, on the U-joint. And then that'll slide back on a little bit easier, because sometimes it does get a little... that's why I don't suggest using the freezer unless it's summertime, and let it sit a minute or two in the heat. Don't let it sit a long time. Okay, in the summer and the fall, the fridge is fine, and the temperature's arid usually outside, so you'll get away with it easy. You get universal joints too. They were made to be serviced in the spring and fall, as far as my brain is. I'm gonna enjoy my allergies. I'm getting near a certain bush out there, and I think George Bush is gonna get chopped down. I was fine for about 20 minutes. As soon as I smell that bush, it's killing me. Alright, guys. Thank you for watching my videos, and hopefully I help solve some of the greasy mysteries.